Hello, Fire Goddesses, and welcome to episode 93. In today's episode, I'm going to chat about something that most likely many of you are doing or have done that may be contributing to the chaos that we are seeing around us. Now, it is never my intention to promote shame or to make you feel less about yourselves, but it is my intention to create awareness so that you can change the way you are being, so that you can raise your vibration, reclaim your fire, your financial abundance, your inner peace, your radiant health, and your energy alignment so that you can be the person that you've always dreamed of and have everything that you desire in your life. And that comes from within. That comes from building your inner empire so that you can have your outer empire, so that you can have the abundance that you desire. So, Fire Goddesses, stay tuned. It's going to be a really, really great episode. Hello, Fire Goddesses. Welcome to the Reclaim Your Fire podcast. My name is Angela Noel, and I am a prosperity coach for the newly awakened or awake curious, driven overachiever, and overdoer. After running a successful acupuncture practice in Boston for 12 years, I decided to hang my hat by closing the practice and pursue what it is that I'm really meant to do in this world, and that is to serve humanity online on a global scale. Using my background in Chinese medicine, along with the brain science of habits, spirituality, and divine masculine and feminine energy balance, I am here to help you not just understand, but know how powerful you are and that you are the person who is responsible for having the finances, inner peace, radiant health, and energy, aka the fire, in your life that you've always desired. My intention with this podcast is to serve humanity, no matter what gender you identify as, to help bring out the divine feminine goddess in each and every one of you. As you probably are already aware, the world is changing and is begging for the goddess to come out in each and every one of you. So, Fire Goddesses, stay tuned. Hello, Fire Goddesses, and welcome to the Reclaim Your Fire podcast. My name is Angela Noel. I am the host of the podcast, and welcome to episode 93. In today's episode, I want to touch upon a thing that I'm noticing a lot of people doing that may be contributing to the chaos that we're seeing in the world. And it's not intentional, it's actually very subconscious. And I do believe that it comes from this desire to do the right thing. And as you'll quickly discover, a lot of people do this. I have definitely done this in the past. I don't do it anymore. And because what I realized by doing it, it wasn't really giving me a sense of inner peace. It wasn't giving me a sense of developing my inner empire so that I can have the outer empire that I desire. And as you probably already know, that is how I help people. I help mentor and coach my clients to having the best possible inner empire, meaning your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your vibration, your health and well-being, all the things that go on within you, so that you can manifest and have your outer empire, your dream business, your dream life, the best health imaginable, the best love imaginable. So this is what I'm going to chat about today. I really can't wait to share this episode with you because it's really important information to know. And I really think that there comes a time when it's appropriate to start calling people out on the everyday things that they do. And it comes from love. It comes from me wanting to help heal humanity so that we can have a better world. And it comes from the right place. But I realize, okay, that this might be triggering to hear for some of you. So if you are triggered, congratulations. Because when you are triggered, you have opportunities to realize that about yourself and learn the lessons so that you can grow, because that's what triggers are. They are here for us. They don't happen to us. So I got the idea of this podcast episode. It came from a few different sources, and mainly it started when I had a conversation with somebody recently, with a friend of mine, who was very, very adamant about wanting to make sure that I knew what was going on in the world. And it had to do with politics. And as you know, I don't watch the news. I don't read the news. I don't pay attention to CNN or NPR or Fox News. I stopped doing that a long time ago, before 2020, but definitely since 2020, I've done less and less to it being non-existent. And I used to play in the camp that as a resident, as a citizen, as an American citizen, it's my responsibility to know what's going on in the news. It's my responsibility to know what's happening. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that believe that. And this is how I look at things. I believe that we are all here to do different things and to live out our dharma. So for some people, I do believe that it's really important for them, in order to live their dharma, their life's purpose, to watch the news and understand what's going on, or read the news, or however you're receiving that information. But for some people, it is absolutely not necessary to know what's going on in the news. And I happen to be one of those people. One could argue that that's choosing to be ignorant. And I want to remind you that perspectives can go across the board, and everybody has their own opinion about things. And I play in the camp that there is nothing that is black, white, right, or wrong anymore. I believe that in most situations, there is no right or wrong when it comes to how you choose to think, what you choose to do, how you choose to live your life, is obviously as long as you're living by the laws of the universe and you're doing no harm and you're playing your part in the world. So this particular person felt very, very compelled to start telling me about what was going on, like a specific piece of news. And it ended up evolving into a really nice conversation because we talked it out and we had a respectful conversation. And that's one thing that I really love about this friend, is that we are able to listen to each other's points of view without judgment. We hold space for each other, and we can move on despite the fact that we disagree. But in the beginning, it felt a little like there was this agenda pushing, right? My interpretation, of course. So I want to chat about that because there's a lot of that going on. I saw somebody else, a colleague of mine, who feels really, really strongly that she needs to convince other people about the right way of thinking, which in her mind is that it's not black or white, it's gray. So she kind of stands in the same camp that I do, but she feels like she needs to tell everybody and educate everybody, and expects that all the people that she's preaching to is going to listen to her point of view and as a result change the way they think. So I want to talk about how that kind of being and that kind of thinking and that kind of wanting to control, because that's what it is. It's your desire to want to control how another person thinks because you believe that your way of thinking is the right way of thinking. And, you know, in Chinese medicine, what I love so much about it is that it's all about balance of yin and yang. So there's no such thing, even if you look at the Tai Chi symbol, the yin yang symbol, when the body is in balance, when we are our healthiest, it's when we're straddling that middle line, that middle ground. It's not when we're too much in the yin or too much in the yang, because when we're too excessive in the yin or too excessive in the yang, that's often when we get disease. That's when we get our excessive emotions, which can lead to disease. That's when we are not feeling our best. That's when our sleep gets disturbed. That's when our bodies have a tendency to get ill, right? It's when we're not in balance. And because we as humans are energetic, we are physical manifestations of our energetic body in the universe. All right, are you still with me? I don't want to lose anybody. But because basically we are microcosms, we are part of the universe. We are not separate from the universe. We are the universe. We are built. Our system is built from the same material that the stars are built from, the planets. We are no different, okay? We are part of the universe. We are part of everything. So with that said, regarding these individuals, those people out there that really want to make sure that you're getting it, right? That you're doing the thing that they believe is right, that is not coming from a place of balance of yin and yang. That is coming from a place of too much yang, too much force, too much expectation. And what does too much yang do to your system over time? It is going to wear out your yin energy, right? Your feminine energy, your divine feminine energy. And what that means for you is that if you're somebody that doesn't feel intuitive or creative, or if you're stuck in your life, if you're stuck in your business and you don't have what you want, if you're unable to create what you want in your life because you're stuck or you have blocks, it might be a good opportunity to look at, well, where in your life are you focusing on the external? Where in your life are you expecting others to believe what you believe, and who also believe that the right way is the way that you think? Are you following me so far? So what I'm basically saying is that this way of being, which is having expectations of others that your way is the right way and you're the do-gooder, right? And I know I have plenty of friends that are like you. I live in a very blue state of Massachusetts. I have a lot of friends that feel that their way of being is the right way. And I want to challenge you to this today. And I'm not saying that your way of being is the wrong way. I'm saying that your way of being is a way. Because what happens is when you get stuck in, I just don't understand how these people could do this. There's a few things happening, right? You're giving away your personal power. What that means is basically you came onto this planet, you were incarnated as a baby onto this planet with 100% personal power, meaning everything within you is available to you for healing, for navigating the world, for you're a sovereign being. And over time, indoctrination and conditioning and rules and regulations, things that we get from society and from parents and from schools, not to say again it's good or bad, but it takes away our sovereignty. And over time, we as humans believe that we are powerless. In order to heal, for example, that we need medicine. And I espouse responsibility and personal responsibility to take care of yourself and listen to your body. So whatever you need, you go out and you get it. However, what I'm saying is that when you incarnated, you were perfect. You were sovereign. You were 100% in your personal power. And then as adults, so many of us struggle because of the traumas we've endured. And it takes away our personal power to the point where we feel like we're not worthy. People struggle with self-love. We often turn to the external, whether it be being validated externally by other people through foods and addictions, soft addictions, hard addictions, anything external. The belief is that anything external is going to make us feel better and is going to make us heal. So what I'm saying, bringing this all together, if you are a person that gets so bent out of shape because of what other people are doing, you are giving away that sovereignty to them. You're giving it all away to them, and you have nothing left for yourself. So that can take away from your ability to create. So if you listened to episode 92 from last week, I talked about this, how when I surrendered to rest, I was able to get all these creative downloads. So this is the same kind of thing. When you surrender and allow other people to be where they're at and concern less and less and less with what they're doing, you can also discover for yourself how creative you are. You can discover for yourself how easy it is for you to heal your body, mind, and your spirit. You will discover how easy it is for you to attract financial abundance, especially if you struggle with money. You might be thinking, well, this is a really simplified version, so all I need to do is stay in my own lane and I'm going to be a millionaire. Really, it's a lot simpler than we as humans make it out to be. And this is just one little piece of the puzzle, right? I talk about, if you've been listening to the podcast since day one, you'll know that there's a lot of different moving parts to healing. It's not just one thing. But what I want to talk about and what I intend to impart to you today is that one piece that so many of us get stuck in, and that is wanting to control other people and have them believe what you believe. And if you look at religion, okay, I forget what the quote is, but religion is basically responsible for, I think, all of the wars or most of the wars that have happened in the history of humanity. Maybe not all of the wars, but religious differences cause a lot of problems and rift between people, because that is another way that we separate ourselves from each other. Are you following me? So if you are trying to impart your opinion and you want so badly for these people to agree with you, you are basically doing the same thing that religion does. And that is separate. You're separating yourself from other people. Instead of trying to understand where the other person is coming from, you are stuck in this reality of needing to convince and explain and force on another person. And at this point, you probably already know that if a person doesn't want to change, they're not going to change until they want to change. So what's causing you to believe that your opinion and your desire for them to change and change their opinion is going to change them? And at what cost is this having on your inner peace, on your financial abundance, on your health, on your divine right to have a balance of divine masculine and divine feminine energies at all times, so that you can live in alignment with yourself, be symptom-free, have more time, have more quality time with your friends and your family and the people that you care about, because you feel good, you feel energetic, and because you're making more money, you're attracting more money easily because you're in alignment. You have more time for vacations, and you have more time to build your dream house, or you have more time to be a digital nomad, or whatever it is that you want in your life. You can have that easily when you surrender your desire to want to convince and force and impart your opinions and your ideas on other people. And I want to add another really important component to this, because this is how it contributes to the world crisis. This is how being rigid in your opinion and expecting other people to believe what you believe is contributing to the world crisis. When you get flustered and care so much about what other people are doing, we're talking about caring so much that people are not doing what you want them to do, when they're not sharing the same opinion as you. When you get into that space, you are contributing to the lower vibrational frequency that is all over the planet right now. You are contributing to the hate. You are contributing to the negative vibration, to the negative emotions. Do you ever go out sometimes feeling on top of the world, and then you come back tired, or you come back feeling angry or flustered, and you're like, I didn't start the day out like this, but I went to the grocery store and I came back, and while I was at Market Basket today, I just noticed that I got a headache, or I noticed that I was getting into fear, or I noticed that I was getting angry or irritable. Loves, that is the energetic frequency of other people penetrating into you. That is why it is so important to protect your energetic frequency, because it's everywhere. right? When you think of like radio waves, for example, right? When you think of cell phone waves, when you think of any kind of waves that we use right now in our technology, right? Those are all around us and affecting us at all times. Why do you think that computers make us feel a little weird when we're on them too long, or our phones make us feel a little off when we're on them for hours and hours and hours? It's because it's an energetic frequency that is going into our bodies. So how are we any different? When we are emitting those energetic frequencies, and in this case, if you are in a low energetic frequency, you are emitting that frequency into the world for other people to pick up. And the fact that you listen to this podcast tells me that you're very self-aware, or you're on the path of really discovering your self-awareness. But imagine all the people that are not listening to this podcast and are not doing this kind of work, right? They're not aware of their energetic footprint. But what they are aware of is, when I go into this garden center, when I go into this particular store, when I shop at Whole Foods, or when I shop at Walmart, I notice how I feel when I go into these places. When I go to Whole Foods, I usually feel really good, like especially when I go over and I look at all the beautiful flowers. But when I go into Walmart, I just feel so tired when I leave, right? We're all picking up on energetic vibrations of everybody else, right? So it's your responsibility, A, to emit higher frequencies into the ether. And B, it is your responsibility to protect your energy like it's your most important asset. Because you know what happens. Everybody likes to talk about energetic vampires, right? Like, oh, so-and-so is an energetic vampire. Every time I see her, she robs me dry. First of all, that's victim mentality. That is you allowing yourself to give your power away to this energy vampire to the point where you're exhausted and tired. Now, how is that serving you by doing that? It's not, right? It's just making you tired. So you need to learn how to protect your energy, goddesses. I say this with love and respect and understanding, because I have been on this path too. I understand. I am super empathic and I feel everything from everybody. So for people like us, especially if you identify as an empath, especially if you're somebody that really feels others' emotions, you really, really need to protect your energy. So use this podcast episode, love, to discover for yourself what it is that you need to do in order to detach from the need to wanting to convince and control and want people to agree with you because you feel that your way is the right way. The only person that you're responsible for in this lifetime is yourself. Even if you're a parent, right? You know that already. You can't control your children. In fact, my shaman teaches that the way to, how does he say this? That it is our personal responsibility as parents to not tell kids how to think, but to allow kids to discover how to think for themselves, right? And if you have kids, because I know I have a lot of parents listening, you know what happens when you try to control your kids. Is anybody really happy? Like, think about it, okay? Like, sit down and journal if you need to do this. But anytime you try to convince or control somebody else, does anybody ever feel better on the other side? Like, truly, do you feel in your bliss? Do you feel in your inner peace? Do you feel aligned? Do you feel more creative when you try to convince and control other people? Or when you're on the receiving end of someone trying to convince and control you? Now, I'll be completely candid. When my friend was trying to come at me saying I should be more up to date with what's going on in the world, I started to notice my defenses going up and it didn't feel good. So what I had to do was kind of pause, reflect, tune in, regain my energy, set intentions to raise my vibration. And we ended up having a beautiful conversation. And as a side note, not that I need to explain myself, but for those of you wondering, Angela, why don't you follow the news? Why don't you pay attention? And I only share this not to defend myself, but I share because I want to inspire you to decide what works for you when it comes to what to pay attention to and what to listen to. I do this because of what I'm talking about today. And that is my personal responsibility to maintain inner peace. So I work with people, and I'm committed to, while I'm working with my clients, while I'm doing this work, I am committed to serving and being in a high vibration so that I can serve them best. I am committed to aligning with my higher self, with aligning to God, with aligning to the universe, with aligning to the unified field, whatever you want to call it, Jesus, so that I can best serve my people. Now, do you think that if I go and watch the news, because the news is so low vibe, it's so toxic, it's meant to sell fear, right? That's how they make money. So do you think that after watching or reading the news, and then I go, all right, let's just say this, okay? Say you're my client, okay? I work with high-end clients. I charge quite a bit of money for people to work with me one-on-one. Let me ask you this, okay? You've just hired me to be your coach or your mentor. And say we have an appointment at 3:00 for our weekly call. At 2:00, I say, I don't really know what's going on in the world. I feel like I need to brush up. So I turn on the TV or turn on YouTube or wherever I get the news, or I read some articles. And this has happened to me so many times watching the news. I can't even count the amount of times. I leave that experience feeling scared, like, oh shit, we're fucked, right? How many times have you watched, read, listened to the news and felt that way? And an hour after reading and catching up, I go on my phone call with you, my client. You've just hired me to reclaim your fire, right? So reclaim your financial freedom, reclaim your inner peace, reclaim your radiant health, and reclaim your energy balance. You've hired me a lot of money to help you with that. And here I am in this lower energetic frequency because I just watched the news. So let me ask you, would you want that? How would you feel if I showed up to a call, low vibration? Would you be like, oh yeah, Angela, I understand. It's really important for you to stay on top of the news. I get it. I understand why you feel that way today. The world is scary. Personally, if that was my coach, I'd be like, either we're not working together anymore. I would fire my coach, or I'd be like, you know what? This is not who you are. Let's end this call and have this conversation when you're in a better energetic state. So that would never happen because I only work with coaches who are high vibe and do the work. But imagine that, okay? Would you be happy? Of course you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't. So think about that. I love to give my audience food for thought, things to munch on, things to journal about, so that you can discover, where are you leaking your energy? Where are you caring too much about what other people are doing? And I want to say, there's part of me that wants to say, I get it. But here's the thing. I'm holding space for you in the most loving way, but it is no longer appropriate to be mediocre. By me saying, I get it, I get you, I get it from the standpoint as I've been there, but it's time to really reframe and transmute and move through this and stop giving ourselves excuses for why we can't do this or why we can't do that. It is our responsibility to change that and move on, to change our energetic frequency and move on, for detaching from what other people are doing and focusing inward on ourselves. And, as you know, I talk about this all the time. If you get into your stuff with somebody else, just recognize that this is happening, change it, and move on. Ask for help. I'm always asking for help from my guides. I'm always asking for help from my shaman. I'm always asking for help from my team of spirit guides who are there to help me. I'm always asking for help from Jesus or whoever I feel most connected to at that time. So whoever that is, ask for help. Ask for help. Before you go to bed at night, ask your subconscious and ask your spirit guides, whether it be your guardian angels, whoever it is that you feel connected with, You know, I have so many of them. I have my angels, I have my guides, I have my shaman, I have my ancestors who help me. Ask for help while you're sleeping. And I can guarantee that when you wake up the next day, oftentimes your problem, quote unquote problem, right? Or your illusion is going to be resolved when you wake up. Usually when I either recognize it right away when I wake up, or when I start journaling or start moving my body, or sometimes I need to go outside with my bare feet, weather permitting, and ground to Mother Earth. And then I start to realize how I am so supported. And you are too, because we're the same, right? We are the same. We have the same stuff available to us all the time. And if you do not believe that, I want you to really understand and know that that is a belief that came from a different belief system, but that is not the truth. Okay? And I ask for you to trust me when I say this. That is not the truth. Any kind of limiting belief does not come from you, and it's not the truth of who you are. All right, goddesses. So I'm looking here. I looked at my podcast recording app, and it was at 3333. Timing wise, with edits and everything, I'm not sure what this is going to come down to, but that was my sign to stop and send this off into podcast land so that you can listen to this. And as a reminder, if you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe. Please share this podcast with those you care about. And if you want to work with me, this is your invitation to work with me one-on-one. You do need to apply. I do not take everybody, because I only work with people who are highly committed and ready to do this work. So if you are feeling called to work with me, tune in, ask your guides, ask your higher self. I like to close my eyes and put my hand over my chest and ask, is this for me? And if I receive a yes, I take action. Fill out the application. It's in my website, www.angelanoelinternational.com/links. You will see the application to work with me one-on-one. And let's change the world by changing who we are being and how we're showing up, and by raising our vibration. And until next time, goddesses, this is my reminder to you with love to be radiant, to be powerfully authentic, and to know that you can reclaim your fire at any time. And until next time, much love. Hi, this is Angela Noel, and thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you have found value in listening to this podcast, I would be so grateful if you could kindly share this podcast with those you care about. Please help me spread the word of empowerment and possibility and expansion by sharing this podcast. Or you could also leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Remember to follow me on Instagram at I am Angela Noel, or you could go to my website at www.angelanoelinternational.com to learn more about my work and to find out how you can work with me. Thank you very much.